Welcome, Bryce Shonka. Hey, folks, look at this. Look at this room right now. We've got all these people in this room right now doing something that the establishment media won't even discuss. Let's see, what do we have in this room right now? Do we have any oath keepers? Do we have any Ron Paul Republicans? As it turns out, I was actually in the room last night where Dr. Paul declared his first presidential run, which was very exciting for me personally. Do we have any conservatives with us? Okay. Now go easy on this next one. Do we have any liberals in the room? We have a hand. I want everyone to give this gentleman a round of applause, please. Because when we started 10th Amendment Center, rather when Michael Bolden started 10th Amendment Center in 2006, I've only been on board for 2 years now. You can imagine under George W. Bush, there was quite a few liberals at the time who were opposed to the federal government. We need to bring those people back into the fold and remind them that liberty is for both sides of the political spectrum. The message that we need to move forward and tell people why we came to this event today is the establishment has failed you. The fact that we don't hear about this wonderful approach to dealing with an out-of-control federal government is a problem with the establishment itself, and we're here today to correct that problem, are we not? The roadmap of nullification doesn't require the establishment, and that's the beauty. I have right here a list of what is happening today without the permission of the powers that be. We sit at the top of the political food chain in the American system of government, not the Supreme Court. So elected officials like the newly elected governor of Pennsylvania, for instance, who views the Supreme Court as the highest authority in the land, have got another thing coming. The states created the federal government, not the other way around. I'm sure you've heard that at least a couple times already today. And that is the basis for all of this. That's the way the Constitution was set up. The federal government is our agent. And as a people, we have not followed our duty to make sure that our employee, the federal government, stays within the carefully defined parameters set forth by the Constitution of the United States. I hear a lot of people pointing fingers. I hear a lot of people pointing fingers at the White House right now. I hear a lot of people saying that President Obama is the reason for our troubles. That finger has got to turn around, folks. We are the ones who are the ultimate guardians of this republic, and nobody else, no elected official, no pundit, no media figure, no president is going to do that for you. And I imagine the folks in this room today are ready to take on that responsibility. Who's ready to take on that responsibility? Now let me fill you in a little bit on what's going on, because again, you're not going to hear it on MSNBC or Fox News Channel or the evening news or anything else for that matter. And I think you've all probably, or a good deal of you, figured that out by now. The Environmental Protection Agency is an unconstitutional agency that was never delegated to the federal government. West Virginia has filed an Interstate Coal Act this month. They have a bill pending nullifying regulation of carbon. Other states are considering similar legislation to nullify. 15 states have medical marijuana laws on the books. And Arizona, as you all probably know, was just added to that list. 9 states have filed 10th Amendment resolutions so far in 2011. 6 states have 10th Amendment bills pending, binding legislation as opposed to mere resolutions. 8 states passed Firearms Freedom Acts last year: Alaska, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, and Tennessee. Now, yeah. And 8 states this year have already filed Firearms Freedom Acts. Virginia also passed an interstate commerce bill this week. Now, interstate commerce is similar to the Firearms Freedom Act, if you all know about that. Firearms Freedom Act basically said that any firearm manufactured in your state that does not leave your state is not interstate commerce, and therefore the feds keep their hands off, period. Well, the Interstate Commerce Act goes even further than that. What it says is that anything grown, produced, manufactured, and sold in the state is off limits to federal regulation, period. Do you know that 35 states proposed health care freedom legislation last year? Did you hear about that one on the evening news? 35 states proposed health care freedom legislation last year, and 7 states actually passed it. Now, a lot of this legislation was not binding, it was just a statement. And when you're complaining about someone, the first thing you do is put them on notice, right? You don't go in with guns blazing as the first step. We don't advocate violence, by the way. 11 states have, oh, sorry, let me finish my point. What we're moving into now is a phase where we're seeing legislation, and 10th Amendment Center has written legislation that has teeth. What it says is, as in the case of the Healthcare Nullification Act, which has been introduced this year in 10 states already, is that any federal agent attempting to enforce the unconstitutional healthcare mandate in that given state is likely to be imprisoned, fined, or otherwise stopped by the state government. And there's 11 more states that are looking at the same thing right now. At 10th Amendment Center, we do a lot of things. We get people together like you. We bring together groups that are really on the same side. When you're talking about liberty, the things that divide us are really not nearly as important as the looming threat of an out-of-control federal government. We have differing views on things like drug abuse, on things like education, and how to handle all of the really important aspects of life as a human being. But let's have these conversations as communities, let's have them as congregations, let's have them as families. Let's not rely on the feds to do that for us. And it is in this way that we can bring together the biggest coalition that this republic has ever seen, a coalition that crosses boundaries, that involves Democrats and Republicans and Libertarians and people that don't want anything to do with political parties, period. Because as average folks, unless you are a federal bureaucrat, you're on this side. You're on our team. And that's the message we need to spread. We have a lot of great stuff coming up for you today. Who's here to see Sheriff Mack? All right. We got Stuart Rhodes, who's the founder of a great organization called Oath Keepers. I already know there's a couple of y'all in the room. He's coming up. He's going to be fantastic. We got the former governor of New Mexico, Gary Johnson. Gary has actual real-world experience in getting rid of bloated, overgrown, wasteful government. I'm sure he'll tell you a lot more about that when he comes up a little later on. But we're here to really learn something that we haven't heard before today. And I just want everyone to really listen to all of this with an open mind, because this is a new message. And when you go and you speak to your friends, and maybe Keith Olbermann fans, who knows? This is a new way to talk to them that's going to cross through those barriers that you may have encountered in the past. Because like I said, when it comes to liberty, when it comes to making decisions closer to home and having more control over your own life, who isn't up for that? So I want to thank everybody for coming out. You're spending your Saturday with us. We're going to be going through a pretty fast-paced schedule here and getting a lot of ideas going. But I want you all to give a round of applause, because you are at the forefront of a new movement in American politics that is being called by historians unprecedented. So thank you very much.